Y'all want to hear about my very first apartment deal?
This video was sponsored by
Nothing beats being here in person, meeting face to face, and having that energy and that experience live.
What I love about apartments is really the cash flow.
You only have the one building, you only have the one property manager, but yet you have several doors.
I thought you had to have a big bankroll behind you in order to be able to do it. And what I've learned from Whitney and Jason is that that's just not the case.
You can do this, anyone can do this.
It's made me so much more confident as an investor because she's there when I need her for anything.
This is the course designed for ladies just like you to help you move from houses into the lazy lady landlord lifestyle of apartments, which is a lot more money and equals a lot more fun.
Here it is! This is Landmark and this is Boone. And these are my very two first apartment deals. So I did another video and I explained the difference in multifamily investing, commercial, residential, all the different things. But this is literally just my story on how I found these deals and just what the situation was on these deals. Let's just be clear though, this is two different properties, okay? This is Landmark on this parcel, and this is Boone on this parcel. The parcel IDs do touch, they connect, all right? They make like an L. If you look at it from the map up top, they make an L. But Landmark has 11 units, and Boone has 5. But they're all together, 16, right smack dab together. This is the driveway and the parking area. This is the other driveway. And then the parking area for Boone is just basically in the front door of the building. So anyway, during the recession, the banks were handing out money left and right to anybody and everybody that had a pulse. So there was a school teacher who lived in the Strawberry Plains community, and he decided that he wanted to be a landlord because he wasn't going to have enough in retirement as a school teacher to actually live his best life. And that's happened to lots of people. And so during the recession, I think it was 06, maybe even 07, the banks, both of these properties came up for sale from the same seller, and the school teacher bought them. And then in 7 and 8, or before 7 and 8, the teacher had the properties and he had a mortgage on them, and he wasn't a landlord. But he thought, well, if I improve the property, if I redo the property, if I flip these units and I make them better, then I'll get better quality tenants. But he still wasn't a landlord, and he still wasn't good at, or he didn't have a process for, screening the tenants to make sure that they didn't have any prior evictions. He did not check to make sure that their money came from a legal source of money and that they had like an actual job. So even though he had purchased these units and he could make the mortgage payment after he borrowed against these units from the bank and paid contractors to go in and improve the units, he still had a bunch of drug dealers and low lifes and just crummy people living in all 16 units. And it got to the point where he couldn't afford to make the mortgage payment on these things anymore. And he was not a landlord, so he was not prepared to have to evict all these people. He didn't have a stockpile of money or any other sources of money because he was a school teacher and they aren't exactly paid like millionaires. He just lost the houses to foreclosure. He couldn't make the payments on them. And listen, during the recession, lots of people were losing lots of different properties, okay? This was not the only guy that lost apartments during the recession. This was not the only guy that lost real estate during the recession. This was not the only guy that got upside down on what the properties were worth because he'd improve the properties because people were giving out money. This guy didn't put himself in this position on purpose. But he woke up one day and found himself facing foreclosure for Boone and for Landmark. And this went on for years. Foreclosure doesn't happen really fast, especially in apartment complexes. This went on for years and years and years, and the places just got, even though they were basically brand new, they did get a little bit run down. Until about 2013, 2014, and the bank that owned these properties it was a local community bank, and so the president or the person in charge or whoever reached out to a local property manager, a local real estate agent, a local broker actually, and an auctioneer. Very solid man, very smart man, and he went in on behalf of the bank and cleaned up the units, kicked out the bad tenants, brought in fresh tenants that were going to pay and weren't on drugs and weren't doing crazy stuff in these properties, and he improved the properties. But the school teacher had lost the properties for way more than what they were worth, and I saw these properties go up for sale just right about the same time that I started buying houses in 2013, end of 2013, early 2014. And by the end of 2014, I'd already talked to this broker and this agent, and I'm a broker for Whitney Buys Houses, but I was buying houses for most of 2014. But by the end of 2014, in November of 2014, I'd bought 14 houses, and I was looking for something new. I was looking for multifamily investing. I was looking for apartments. I was looking for a bigger deal because I'd gotten a belly full of houses. And at the end of November 2014, total side note, I broke up with my boyfriend, Jason, in October of 2014 because I wanted to be getting married in October of 2014, and he hadn't even proposed yet. So we had a little struggle there for a bit and broke up in October of 2014. Got back together in November of 2014 because, you know, how guys realize that, oh crap, I should marry this woman. And if not now, I should definitely be making progress towards marrying this woman. And if she thinks we're supposed to be getting married, then we're going to get married. You know, right? You know. So we got back together in November of 14 with the plan on we were going to be talking about at least getting married at some point. But November 2014, Jason came back, and one of the things was I really wanted him to get into real estate investing with me because up until this point, he had been, let's say, lackluster about supporting me in my real estate adventures. And he communicated, once we had open communication, that he just didn't like houses. He didn't want to deal with the houses. In his mind, it didn't make sense. There wasn't enough money. There wasn't enough meat on the bone. And the deals I was doing, you know, I was making big money and I was doing big things, but it just didn't like mesh in his head really well. But I was at a point where I was ready to go further. I was ready to get out of houses. And it was also that he was ready to come into something in real estate, and we decided apartments were going to be our thing because it was enough money, it was enough black and white, there's not as much emotion involved in apartments as houses, and it was something new that just kind of suited him more than houses, and it was a step up for me and it was a step up for him, and so that was our middle ground. And it just so happened that there was a gentleman named Anthony Chara coming through Knoxville in November of 2014 as Jason and I are getting back together, and as we're wanting to learn about apartments, Anthony is teaching a class on how to buy apartments. So we took these deals to a boot camp, presented these deals in front of our class, and everybody was like, oh yeah, you gotta buy them. You gotta buy them. No brainer, you gotta buy them. So we signed up for Anthony's coaching for the next, I think we got the forever package, but we got a coach, we got a mentor. And our mentor helped us walk through buying, closing on, funding these 2 deals and a triplex up in Morristown, Tennessee. So in the same week, we bought 11 units, 5 units, and a triplex up in Morristown, just from what we learned at a boot camp. And it's like our thing. Some couples golf, some couples go dancing. We travel and buy apartments. That's our thing. Oh, we also really like to go to the spa. Those are our things. That's what we do. We relax or we make money. Now I'll tell you also, how did I get the money to buy these things? Well, it's important that you know I was doing a lot of house deals because I had a house that was worth about $200,000 that I paid $120 in cash for, because I had done 13, 14 deals. I'd made about $10,000 a deal. I was sitting on $130,000, $140,000 that I'd made in 2014 from assignments and from wholesaling and from just selling houses. I'd made about $130,000 at this point. And I had the opportunity to buy a house for $120,000. So I took all the money that I'd made and bought that house for $120,000, and it was worth $200,000. So I had a property free and clear that I did not have any of my money in. It was money that I'd made on other deals that I'd been doing. I had a property free and clear in my name. No lien against it, no mortgage, no nothing. Worth $200,000 that I had $120,000 invested. I think it was $120,000, it might have been. No, it was $120,000. And I was able to go to the bank and say, hey, I have this property. Can I put a line of credit against it? Can I pull the equity out? And they said, yes, we will loan up to 80% the value of the property. And I said, that's like $150,000. I only need $120,000. Will you just give me $120,000? I didn't know any better back then. Now I know, get it all. We'll cash out 2 or 3 houses. But we ended up getting $120,000 for the equity that I had in that house. And I used that money that tied up that house as the down payment on Landmark, Boone, and Faulkner, which is the triplex. All right, because these properties were in foreclosure. They were not going to work out an owner financing deal or lease option, master lease option. The bank wanted to cash out these deals. And I was buying Landmark for $225,000, Boone for $125,000, and we closed Faulkner, which is the triplex up in Morristown. We paid $89,000 for it. So I needed 20% to put down on each property. I borrowed against a house that I had. We pooled that money. We put part of it towards Landmark. We put part of that money towards Boone. We put part of that money towards Faulkner. And these 3 properties bring in enough money that they pay their mortgage and they pay back the line of credit every single month. They pay for their expenses. They pay for all of their own stuff. And our plan was in 5 years to have them all paid off. This year, well, in 2018, my plan was to get 10 of my houses free and clear, and I got 7 paid off. In 2019, my plan is to get all 10 of the houses paid off. And by 2020, my plan is to have all 3 of the apartment complexes paid off. Because just like with that house, once I have all of these properties paid off, I can get a line of credit against the property, against the value. I don't have to sell it, but I get 80% of the value of it in cash money that I can use to go buy other properties. I could keep this as a rental. It can keep puking money at me. But when I don't have any money to pay back against it, I don't have any debt owed against the property, it's free and clear, all in, all mine, then I can use, if this thing's worth $200,000, if it's worth $350 and I can borrow 80% the value, let's say I can borrow $250. Well, I need 20% to put down on $1 million property, that's $200. So now I can go buy 20 or 30 units that's priced at $1 million or $1.2 million, and I've got the $200,000 pulled out of the line of credit in this property to go buy an even bigger property. Still without my money, because my initial seed money came from other people's option fees and assignment fees. Boom, 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 boom. This is how you do deals without having your money, your credit, your banks, your anything tied up. Even though I have mortgages, even though they're looking at these properties and I am standing there saying, yes, I'm going to make these payments. Yes, it's going to be good. In commercial real estate, they don't look at me. Do I qualify to make the money on these mortgage payments? They look at the property. Does the property make enough money to make the mortgage payment, pay the expenses, and allow the owner to keep some money? That's one of the biggest differences in commercial real estate is they're not looking at you anymore and do you qualify? Does the property qualify? And just like Anthony taught me, I'm here to teach you. I will actually teach you in depth, step by step, how we got this deal, how we closed this deal, how I borrowed money from all these other different places to close on these deals, how we make sure that we're making money on these deals, and how we can do it in our spare time, just as an up level, as a scale up, as a step up from buying houses. I still have houses. I have apartments. And I have a course, a program called Apartment Blitz. And it includes Anthony's one-day training. There's an Excel spreadsheet in there so that in houses we have formulas, and a lot of times you can just do it on a regular calculator. Some people can do it in their brain. I can't do it in my brain. I need the calculator. But in apartments, we have an Excel spreadsheet. You just type everything in, all the numbers, all the money, all the things that you get from the seller. You type it all in, and in 5 minutes you can tell whether this money is whether this property is a deal or a dud. And once a month, Jason will teach you in the Deal Makers Club in Apartment Blitz how he analyzes properties and how he can quickly, in 5, 8, sometimes 10 minutes, depending on if it's 200 units or if it's 20 units, it takes more time, but only 5 to 10 minutes, he can tell whether it's a deal or a dud. And we're teaching all of that in Apartment Blitz. All the details are on apartmentblitz.com. There's 40 to 50 hours of us recorded talking all about the different terms in apartments, the different terms in commercial real estate, the different variations of everything. And there's a whole bonus section also, not just on apartments, it's called Apartment Blitz, but it's all about commercial real estate. So Jason and I will talk about apartments because that's where we have experience right now. But we have a bonus all about storage units. And storage units are going to be our next thing that we're going to conquer. I'm going to look at a property tomorrow with outside storage capabilities and big possibilities for inside storage also. So maybe you don't want to deal with tenants and toilets. Maybe apartments make you want to, cry. But storage units, well, people just swipe their credit card and you just ping their credit card once a month, and if they don't pay, you just put a padlock on it, like no big deal, and still make $8,000 to $10,000 a month. That'll get you excited. And we got a whole bonus section, 4 hours on how you can take the same stuff that you know about apartments and flip it into storage units. It's all in there. Everything I know, everything I'm learning through, and anytime that I learn something new, we update Apartment Blitz. All the details are on apartmentblitz.com. Sign up. Hit the blue Buy Now button. But this is Landmark and Boone. This is my first apartment deal. This is exactly how we did it, and I can help you do these deals too. Oh, also, I do want to say though, we paid $225 for Landmark, $125 for Boone, and $90 for Faulkner. You could buy a house for the same money. So don't tell me apartments are too expensive. If you got the money to buy houses, you got the money to buy apartments. And even if you don't have the money, we can show you how to work around that too. All the details are on apartmentblitz.com. Bye, ladies.